Be honest for a second. Were you ever called mature for your age and it never really felt like a compliment? You were the kid who didn't cause drama, the one who handled things, the old soul, the responsible one. Everyone admired you for it. Teachers, relatives, even other kids. But deep down, you know you never really got to be a kid. This video is about the psychology of children who had to grow up too fast and how that shows up in your adult life in ways you still feel every single day. As you listen, quietly count how many signs sound like you. And at the end, I'll ask you one question I'd love you to answer in the comments. Section 1. How it starts. For most people, it doesn't start with a big dramatic moment. It starts with a gap. A parent who's overwhelmed, depressed, sick, absent, always working, or emotionally unstable. No one sits you down and says, "Hey, you're the adult now." But your nervous system figures it out. You learn very young. If I don't hold everything together, everything falls apart. So you start adopting, not because you're ready, but because you feel like you have no choice. You help raise your siblings. You soothe a parent who's crying. You avoid making mistakes because you've seen what happens when someone messes up. You become low maintenance, quiet, no trouble, even when everything inside you is loud. In psychology, this is called parentification, when the child becomes the emotional or practical caregiver in the family. From the outside, it looks like maturity. On the inside, it's just a child in survival mode. Section 2. The disappearing childhood. One of the first things that disappears is your childhood. While other kids argued over cartoons, sleepovers, or what game to play, you were worrying about money, moods, or safety. You grew up learning to anticipate problems, not to enjoy moments. Play became a luxury. Rest felt selfish. Birthdays, holidays, fun, they all had a shadow. Maybe you remember the cake, but you also remember the tension in the room. So years later, when someone asks, "What was your favorite childhood memory?" your mind either goes blank or skips straight to a moment where you were taking care of someone else. If that hit a little too hard, you're not alone. A lot of overthinkers and people on the self-improvement path grew up exactly like this. Section 3. The caretaker role. The second side effect is the caretaker identity. As a kid, you were the emotional sponge, calming people down, smoothing things over, being the strong one everyone vented to.
It was never officially your job, but you took it on because no one else did. Fast forward to adulthood, you're still doing it. You're the therapist friend, the reliable coworker, the partner who holds everything together. Everyone calls you so supportive and so strong. They love that you always know what to say. But almost nobody asks, who does that for you? And half the time, you wouldn't even know how to let them. Your brain still thinks, I'm only safe when everyone else is okay. Section 4. Hyper-independence and trust issues. When you grow up learning that the people who should protect you can't, your brain quietly updates its rules. If I rely on people, I'll get hurt, disappointed, or blamed. So you become hyper-independent. You don't ask for help, you avoid being a burden. You'd rather burn out quietly than say, I'm not okay. To the outside world, it looks powerful. Wow, you do everything on your own. Inside, it's lonely. You don't actually want to do everything alone. You just don't trust that letting go will be safe. So you keep one foot out the door in relationships. You always have a backup plan. You assume later means never when people promise things. And when you do think about reaching out, you overthink it until the moment passes. This isn't just a personality trait. It's a trauma pattern your nervous system still thinks it needs. Section 5. Identity confusion. Another hidden cost, and this one shows up a lot in personality psychology. You might not really know who you are outside of being useful. Kids who grow up too fast often skip the identity phase. No rebellious stage, no experimenting, no what do I like? Who am I really? Instead, you become what's needed: the high achiever, the calm one, the fixer, the problem solver. So in adulthood, when someone asks, "What do you want? What do you like?" you feel blank. You know how to be responsible, but being yourself feels undefined, almost fake. It's not that you have no personality, it's that your personality was built around other people's emergencies. Section 6. Control and exhaustion. When your childhood is chaotic, control starts to feel like safety. You can't control people's moods, so you control your grades, your room, your schedule. You can't control the adults, so you control yourself. Years later, that urgency is still there. You need things just right. You plan everything in detail. Surprises feel like danger, not fun.
People might call you organized, ambitious, disciplined. They don't see the panic underneath, and eventually it catches up. Burnout, numbness, that feeling of being decades older than you actually are. You joke about feeling 40 at 20, but it doesn't really feel like a joke.
So what do you do with all of this? Healing isn't about blaming yourself for how you coped. It's about gently updating the rules your younger self had to live by. A few tiny places to start. 1. Notice your fixer mode. When you feel yourself jumping in to solve everything, pause and ask, is this actually my responsibility or just my habit? 2. Practice asking for one small thing. Not everything, just something. A ride, a favor, a check-in text. Let someone show up for you in a low-stakes way. 3. Give your younger self one thing they never got.
That might be play. It might be rest. It might be saying no. It might be finally admitting, that really hurt me. You can't change the childhood you had, but you can stop reliving it in every relationship, job, and decision. That's what real self-improvement and inner child work often looks like. Not becoming a new person, but slowly becoming someone who no longer has to live in survival mode. If this felt uncomfortably accurate, you're not alone and you're not broken. You were a child in an adult role. In the comments, tell me this. How old were you when you realized you never really got a childhood? If you're in the middle of unlearning this, comment "coming home" so you know you're not doing it by yourself and so other people can see they're not alone either. Save this video for the days you forget it wasn't your fault. And if you have a friend who is always the strong one, send this to them too. They might need to hear it more than you know.